Now, most of you already know that 2 weeks ago we got to see, of course, stocks recovering or starting to recover after the Federal Reserve announced a 25 basis point interest rate hike, which obviously it made a lot of stocks or shares to rise or to surge in terms of the share price, which obviously one of the stocks which really benefited from that was SoFi Technologies. I mean, SoFi Technologies is one of the stocks that obviously we talk a lot about here, as it is a stock that is doing really well in terms of their earnings, which is why we saw them again beating analyst expectations on both the revenues they generated and the earnings per share. SoFi Technologies continues to be that stock that goes or that draws closer to profitability, which is why we heard the CEO of SoFi indicating that around Q4 they expect to report at least a positive EPS or to reach profitability by then, which is something that is incredible, because obviously that would mean that SoFi Technologies is now or will be a profitable company, which is something that I personally believe that it will be good or it will be rewarding to those that are investing into this SoFi Technology stock. So most of you already know that obviously I did a video of saying that I sold my SoFi holdings, and I did tell you that the reason why I sold SoFi is because of the current economic conditions. I personally believe that we are not at, or the US is not at that place where we can say that the markets are going to rally, because inflation is still very high, interest rates are still going to be risen, and you will know that the target, or the Federal Reserve, is targeting an inflation of around 2%, which obviously you will know that last time, ladies and gents, they reported inflation, they were sitting at 6.5%. Now this coming week, ladies and gents, it is very important, because we are going to get to hear about the January inflation figures, and I must say that these figures can be the one, they can either break or make the stock market. Reason being, if inflation come to be worse than what analysts expected, then that might create a bear scenario case in the markets, whereas if it continues beating maybe analyst expectation, then we might get to see stocks surging once again, due to the fact that the inflation is continuing to decrease, or we are seeing deflation continuing, which will be very good to the market. So the Federal Reserve's target on inflation is to get inflation to 2%, which obviously to check where the US is currently sitting at, which is 6.5, just as to make you to see how far the US is from reaching that 2%. So I personally believe that we are still going to get to see maybe some aggression in terms of increasing interest rates from the Federal Reserve, as right now the 6.5, which is the current inflation, where the US is sitting at, is still very far off from the 2%, which is their target. So I think, yes, I know that the US is planning to at least raise interest rates by maybe 25 basis points in the next meeting, which obviously that will be dependent on how the inflation is doing. If inflation could turn out to be worse than what analysts expect this coming Tuesday, then we are going to see we might see, of course, the Federal Reserve aggressively increasing interest rates, trying to curb inflation. So yes, I personally believe that we could get to see either SoFi stock or stocks like SoFi continuing to plummet this week, due to the numbers that we might see, or due to the inflation numbers that we are expected to see on Tuesday. Or we can see stocks like SoFi surging in terms of the share prices. So will be closely monitoring the inflation numbers, which are set to come on Tuesday. Otherwise, with all that, guys, SoFi remains that stock that, as I've said in the previous videos, whenever I see an opportunity, I'm going to continue. I'm going to add this stock again to my portfolio, as I don't have any positions on SoFi due to the fact of the returns I made in a short space of time, which led into me selling SoFi Technologies because of the current economic conditions, which I believe that it's not yet in favor of the stock market. So until inflation draws closer to that 2% or the Fed's 2%, I personally believe that we are going to see the market dropping. That is my personal opinion, because interest rates are still going to be risen. We are not sure by how aggressive the Federal Reserve will increase them, but we know that they are coming, and we know that their target is 2%. Otherwise, with all that, guys, like I said, this coming week I'll be monitoring inflation, which is the inflation numbers, or the US inflation numbers, which are coming on Tuesday, which I believe that if obviously it came out to be worse than what analysts expect or project, then we are going to see stocks plummeting or the markets dropping, whereas if we get to see them coming way better than what analysts expect, then we are going to see the markets continue surging, or stocks continue to surge, which will be good, right? So I am hopeful, and I believe that obviously this coming week we get to see good numbers. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey. Before you load the boat, increase your holdings into any stock, please do make sure that you do your own due diligence, so that at least you can be comfortable when you are investing in the stock market, and not just only in stocks, guys. You need to check, of course, how the economies of the companies you are buying are improving, or is improving, which is also very important. Otherwise, that's all from me, and God bless you all.